Kevin L. Johnson, welcome to An Actor Despairs, man. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, we've been like Instagram buddies for a minute and you've been so supportive and so proud of you, man. Last week part one of what's going to be the final. It's so weird to think that final season of Ozark and man, it what a ride, I mean, you're literally one of the very few actors that's made it all the way through.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's a tough show to survive, and
Yeah.
Sam has made it so far.
That's awesome, man. And dude, you're so great in that show. And there's really been an awesome kind of like rise, fall, like to your character. So I'm not gonna give any spoilers. Not that I have any, but let's hope the second half puts them in a better place. But man, let's start at the beginning. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Lake Wiley, South Carolina.
Okay.
Um, mhm.
Is
And
is that is that like so if like Charleston's here, where's that? Further down or
it's close. It's on the border of North Carolina, so it's pretty close to Charlotte.
okay, well,
Hmm.
I know the
Yeah.
airport well. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when you were growing up there, what did your parents do? It's an interesting city.
So my mom worked in retail quite a bit while I was growing up, like Target, J.C. Penney, that kind of thing. And my dad was an architect. Um,
Wow.
so so we moved around a little bit, but we ended up calling Lake Wiley home eventually. Like
Wow.
went from uh, Greenville, South
Yeah.
Carolina to Greenwood, South Carolina. Lived in Savannah for a little bit. That's where I was born in Savannah, but I didn't live there very long, like
Okay.
maybe a couple years, because we kept getting robbed back in like when I was young.
It
So my dad
wasn't
was
what it
like,
is now. Yeah.
yeah. And then my sister was born in Atlanta, Georgia, so we lived there for a little bit. And yeah, eventually we settled down in Lake Wiley.
Wow. What was it like growing up there for you?
It was good. I went to Clover High School, which was near Lake Wiley, and played tennis, in junior high and high school.
Wow.
Um,
So you
Loved
weren't into
video
acting
games.
yet.
Yeah, I didn't get into acting until college, but like if I look back on it, I was a huge fan of like Superman and Batman, when I
Yeah.
was a kid. And I do remember like when I was really young, um, like imitating like the old Superman, like when
Oh
he would
yeah.
come out of when he when he would come out of the phone booth, and for some reason I thought I could fly, so I would just like
I did too as a kid. I
I
think
would
that's
just
something that happens.
right. It's just like you have this imagination where you think that
Yeah,
you'll be able to fly at some point, and
totally.
yeah, so I think in a weird way, like I always had that, you know, imagination going on,
Yeah.
and I just didn't try anything until like
Not
college.
even drama club or
No, I was busy playing tennis all through high school,
yeah, I guess.
and I mean we went to, how like when you're in high school you get to see plays that
Yeah.
they're going to be showing, but it was almost like, oh, a free day, or free 2.5 hours or however long the play is, and you don't have to be in class.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like one of those things. But yeah, I was a big wrestling fan too. So, The Rock, Stone Cold, I would
Oh,
find
the good
myself
old
right.
WCW days.
I would find myself like imitating The Rock and Stone Cold, and I think even my me and my sister, like we would pretend wrestle, and we would do
Wow.
finishing moves on each other, and I
Have you
would
gotten
like
a
imitate.
chance to work with him yet?
Oh, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, yeah.
No, man, that would be incredible. Like he's bigger now, like body wise, than he was
Yeah,
when he was wrestling. He's
for
huge.
sure. It's insane. And he's
And I hear he's,
the biggest star in the world now, you know?
yeah. And I hear he's a really, really good guy too. Really nice
Yeah,
guy.
me too, man. Yeah. That's awesome. So then when you went to college, was it for tennis?
Oh man, that would have been nice. A nice tennis scholarship. No,
Yeah.
so out of high school, I went to a technical college because my grades weren't quite good enough. And and then like a year later, I went to Clemson for my undergrad. Huge, huge Clemson Tiger fan. I bleed orange and purple. Um, and yeah, are you frozen? Uh-oh.
And I, I'm good.
Oh,
Or
I
do
thought you
you?
were frozen for a second.
No, no, no. I was just very good
Oh,
at standing still.
oh, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
um,
I do a lot of mime work.
you you had me going there. I was like, what's wrong with my computer? Um, but yeah, so eventually I got into Clemson and I went in as a computer science major because I liked video games growing up,
Okay.
and
Well,
I thought, oh, I could make video games. And yeah, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
no, it's not, man. That the code and programming, I'm envious of anyone whose
right?
brain works that way. It's just, whew,
I
yeah,
took like programming classes in high school because they offered them like late, like in your junior and senior year. So I did like Visual Basics,
yeah,
C++, plus plus, and yeah, I got into college. And then, you do another round, you do C++, plus plus, you do Visual Basics, you do I think Linux, or no, that was an operating system, but
yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, that was, yeah,
but it was part of it. And dude, I sucked at it. I just there was
yeah,
it's just something that I think you either have it or you don't. Like
totally. It's like singing, you know?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't gonna happen. And I was like, huh, what can I do? I mean, I came to Clemson for this. It's not gonna work out. So I switched to be an English major, and minored in advertising. I thought that would be something fun, creative. And then I think it was English 110. It was like an intro English class. Like the main uh like thing that we had to do for the semester, we had to go see the big play of the semester. And we saw a funny thing happen on the way to the forum.
mm,
And I had seen, like I said, I had seen plays in high school, but there was just something different about, seeing it on a grander scale and just the audience just enjoying it, laughing, and just mesmerized by the performances. I was like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. And I also can consider myself an introvert. So I was like, well, maybe this will help me break out of my shell. I can do something uh, fun in college. So I I think the next day, like they were having a meetup, to talk about like acting classes coming up.
yeah,
And I just remember being kind of like starstruck in a way because uh, one of the dudes who was there doing the Q&A with everybody like in the circle. It was a small little meeting, but I was like, oh my God, that's a dude from the play that I just saw.
yeah,
He's like, he's an actor. I feel like I should get his autograph. So it was weird. And he's a student at
yeah.
the college, and
And this is Clemson?
it was Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And so the next semester I signed up for some acting classes, auditioned for my first play, which was the Heidi Chronicles,
Wow.
and learned what cold reads are, like
Yeah.
didn't know what that meant. still suck at that. That's a skill that
Yeah.
some people just don't have. Like looking at
Yeah.
sides and looking and having it memorized and being able to look back up at your scene partner. That's not easy.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for that. I didn't get a part in the play, but I wanted to be a part of it because I was just so intrigued by it.
Yeah. You want to learn, be a fly on
So
the
yeah,
wall.
so I asked the director. I was like, "Hey, is there anything that I can do?" It's like, "Yeah, we need tech. You know, we need people behind the scenes, bringing on like the set, like switching
Yeah.
out the sets." And that was like a show within itself.
Yeah.
Like the lights go down, and you have so much time to take things off, bring things on, and that was kind of a rush just doing that. And then just watching the performers, the way they prepped to get ready to go on, stage, and like how a lot of actors, they'll have those moments like they'll get in a circle before a show and they'll do like a warm up kind of to get themselves pumped up.
Yeah.
And that was cool to see. And I was like, man, the next play I gotta make sure I get a part. So the next big play was Burial at Thebes, and
Okay.
um it was uh it was Greek. It was a play. It was Antigone, which
Yeah.
is like the Greek mythology. So it was that, and it was a musical. Um, and I was taking a Shakespeare class at the time, so we were reading Richard III.
Wow.
So for my audition, you had to have a monologue. So of course, I choose the hardest monologue there is, or one of them,
Yeah.
and I do "Now is the winter of our discontent," the very first monologue in Richard III. And yeah, I got a part in the play, and that was my first time on stage. It was pretty crazy.
Wow, man. That's
Hmm.
amazing. And how'd that feel?
It was cool. The rehearsal process was very interesting. I had to learn what it meant to be like downstage,
Yeah.
upstage, all those things I had no clue about. And I remember we did this interesting exercise when we got into the space for the first time to
Yeah.
be in to see what it was going to look like. And the director was like, okay, so whatever, your character is, and I was comical guard, was the name of the role. And he was like, what's your spirit animal for that? I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
But so we were like, we would all walk around the the not just the stage, but the auditorium in like in whatever animal we chose, and it was so bizarre. You just have to kind of let yourself go and be like, everybody else is doing this, nobody's judging you,
Yeah.
just let loose and have fun. And yeah, man, it was crazy. Like the first like opening night, I was nervous as hell, and I think I had a lot of like Coca-Cola. I was drinking
Oh,
Coca-Cola,
caffeine. Yeah.
and so I got a little gassy. Um,
Yeah, that'll do it to you, man.
but dude, it was crazy because we had a stage or a ramp go through the audience, and it was almost like full circle.
Oh, circle in the round theater. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
full circle as in like because I was a wrestling fan, and
Oh, but yeah.
right,
Yeah.
it was like, is this really happening? So of course I'm going down this ramp and I'm bringing in Antigone because I'm the guy who is bringing her to Creon to be uh like arrested for what she's done, and I can't help but have this little bit of a swagger bring her bringing her down this rant because I'm like, I'm like, what would The Rock or Stone Cold do right
Yeah,
now?
man, get the chair, knock her
Yeah,
out. Wait,
right.
you can't say that these days, but that's
Yeah,
funny, man.
yeah, it
That's
was fun.
and was this at the time when Wilmington was the film and TV hub before Atlanta?
Um, yeah, I think that was pretty hopping at the time. I didn't know about any of that because I
Okay.
was just focused in like on college, and everybody was moving to Chicago, or that was what everybody was wanting to do. Um, that was in the performing arts department, and I was friends with a lot of people in the department. So I
Why
was
do
trying to
you
figure.
remember why Chicago?
I think a lot of improv,
Ah, like Second City,
Second
Steppenwolf.
City,
Yeah.
and I think like straight plays and musicals was a good
Yeah.
like that was a good
Yeah.
spot too. Um, so that was the plan, is to do what everybody else is going to do. And when I graduated, I was like, okay. And I even think I called like in a restaurant, like an Italian restaurant, and said, "Hey, I'm moving to Chicago soon. Is there any way I can like fill out an application on the website and like email it to you?" No idea how I was going to move out there, who I was going to live
Yeah.
with. It was mind boggling trying to figure out how that was going to happen. So I eventually said, you know what? I think I'm just going to move back home. So I moved back to Lake Wiley, which was right near North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I was going to try to figure out, get settled, figure out what I was going to do. And then I found out that the film industry was was booming in North Carolina. I had no idea because I
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention to it. Um, and I was looking for classes, and I found or I think I was looking for an agent first, and then I
Got
found
it.
the classes on the agent's website, and also who to get headshots from. And the agency didn't want me. Um, and then the guy who did my headshots, he was like, "Hey, if so and so doesn't want you, try ARA, Artist Resource Agency in
Yeah.
North Carolina, who I'm still with, is my
Oh wow.
Southeast agent." Yeah, and so I sent my headshot, my resume, and I had a reel because I did a movie in college. It never got done, but I had footage from it.
Wow.
I had some. I wish I know I still have it somewhere. I would love to
Yeah,
see
we
it.
gotta yeah.
And so I used that as my reel when I sent it to ARA, and that was why he signed me. He was like, "Yeah, man, I loved your natural, quality." And yeah, it just I was like over the moon when I got an agent because I thought that was going to be
It's
insanely hard to do.
it usually is.
Yeah, even on the local level, like it's
Yeah.
agents don't just you know take on anybody. I mean, I've
It's that
tried
catch
to
22. You can't get an agent without work, and you can't get work without an agent.
right. That's why I
Yeah.
always recommend doing like short films, to
Yeah.
kind of get something on the resume, uh, because there's a lot like SCAD, North Carolina School of the
Yeah.
Arts, which is close by me. So I recommend, to anybody who's wanting to get into the business, and they don't have an agent yet, like, hey, if nobody's wanting you right now, take classes, hone your craft, audition for short films, because that could be some good quality stuff to
Yeah.
put on a reel. And
Did
yeah.
did you cross paths with Danny McBride?
Oh, that's right. He went there, didn't he?
Yeah.
I did not. No, I
Okay.
would love to work with him though. He's he seems like a blast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. So then when you signed with the agency at first, were you going out for a lot of commercials, industrials before you started going out for parts, or were you getting sent out for everything?
So I kind of got lucky right out the gate. We had like these North Carolina education lottery commercials.
Yeah, I know him well.
Yeah. And I auditioned. My first audition was for one of those, and it was a take on like American Idol. So it was like a parody of that.
Oh, okay.
And I was auditioning. Here's the whole meta thing. It's crazy. So the casting office, it's my first time there. I'm just happy to be there. The audition was for a he's a cube. I was a cube wanting to be the next Powerball. So it's about a cube auditioning to be a Powerball. And it was my first audition. So it was like meta. It was so
Yeah, yeah,
I just was myself, and I had already started taking acting classes, and I've always been told, dance with the date that brung you. So don't fight the feeling. If you're if you're just if you're happy to be there, who cares if you're a cube? You want to be the
yeah,
next Powerball. And so I was, as the cube, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be the next Powerball, and I'm happy to be in this audition. And they love the happy-go-luckiness of it, and they cast me, and I was like super happy. Made $500. That was huge to me,
yeah,
and it was non-union at the time. So of course, they don't pay you until they want to pay you. Like I think I got paid like $500 3 months later.
that's so funny. My first thing was a
Yeah.
Geico commercial.
Oh, cool. I
Yeah,
bet that
yeah.
I bet that paid the bills though. Those are
Well,
SAG spots.
it was a yeah. That's a longer story, but yeah, it didn't be that much. It was like $800, I think, by the time it was done.
Really? Was
Yeah,
it? It was
well, so basically they had shot the commercial and they needed a double for pickups, and I was it, and I had to wear
okay.
a suit. The worst part is that what my face wasn't in. I had to wear a suit, and so they didn't have. They were like kind of being dicks and talking about how the guy that had to wear the suit had an AC cooling kit, and I was dying, and it was like a 15-hour day, and I think it was like originally like $200, and they're like like quadruple this guy's rate. So at that time, I was like 16, so at that time it was like awesome, $800.
Right? Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
I always say when I'm on set, like I get paid to do this, and
yeah,
as long as I keep saying that, then the passion's going to be there. When that stops happening, then it's like, oh, what's going on with me?
yeah,
I feel like you always want to have that feeling when you're on set, like, man, I'm getting paid to do this. This is
yeah.
this is great. This is fun.
And how long until you're One Tree Hill from the lotto? How long was that?
Ooh, I'm trying to. It took a little while. There was definitely some dead time. I mean, I was auditioning. Remember the show Army Wives?
Yeah,
That was a huge show in the Southeast, and like there were people that auditioned for that thing hundreds of times. Um, so I got a lot of those auditions, and the One Tree Hill thing came about. I can't remember. I want to say 2010 maybe
okay,
is when that happened. And if I remember correctly, I became a professional actor in 2008. Um, and yeah, the One Tree Hill audition. It was funny. I almost didn't even take it. It was because I had to be in Wilmington like the next day, because at this time, like in the industry, at least in the Southeast, it was like you had to be in the room.
yeah,
Um, and I was like, man, I got to drive to Wilmington because I was living in Charlotte at this
yeah,
point. So I called my dad and I said, hey, Dad, you want to drive to Wilmington for the day? I got to go to an audition. Maybe we could hang out, have some food there. So he drove with me, and
Wow, I love that.
yeah, that was fun. And the way they did it back then was you did the audition and then you stuck around, you know, in the
Yeah.
city for a couple hours, and you waited to hear back if you got a call back, and then the callback was the very same day. So
Wow.
you didn't have to come back. You didn't have to drive
Yeah.
back like a couple days later. And I think the audition was for super like a super fan maybe of one of the
Okay.
characters, like one of the basketball players. And I didn't get that part, but there was a new breakdown, and she was like, "Hey, we just got this new breakdown. It's for cameraman or camera guy.
Yeah.
Um, so we'd love for you to read for this." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely." And my memory isn't great. I'm not great at like things on the fly, but it was a camera guy, so his lines were very easy to remember. It was, if I
Yeah.
remember
Obvious.
correctly,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 3, 2, 1, and action. It's something like that. Even I can't mess that up.
Yeah.
Uh, so I did that and found out like a couple days later that they wanted me for the role, and that was my first. That was my first TV show.
Wow.
My second SAG spot. I want to say I did a Burger King commercial before I did One Tree Hill.
Got
Um,
it.
but yeah, it was interesting, man. Like, because when you get on set, it's almost like everybody's like, "Hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? What can I get? What do you want for breakfast? We're doing lunch." Like everybody kind of waits on your hand and foot, and it feels so weird.
Yeah.
Um, and then you get your own trailer, whether it's the honey wagon or a triple
Yeah.
banger. Those honey wagons are small. Are
I know
small.
they are, man. Oh, ain't that the truth? Desi and Lucy.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Did you go in for Homeland?
yeah. I auditioned for Homeland quite a bit. Never broke through though. But yeah,
That's
did you?
amazing. Did I audition for Homeland? I had an audition for the casting director for another show because I don't know if I did have an audition for Homeland. I can't remember honestly, man, because I took some time away from acting. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. But that dude, that's so cool. It's a great show to be on for. When did because like, God, it kind of just feels like it was like 2016, and all of a sudden it was in Atlanta, no longer Wilmington. So how did
Yeah.
how did you navigate that shift?
Um, so I was like when I get settled somewhere, I kind of don't want to move. I'm just like, I'm good. I don't want to move. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine. And I was dating this girl at the time, and she was also an actor. We met in acting class, and she was wanting to move to Atlanta. So I was like, well, I want to stay together, so I guess I'm moving to Atlanta. And
What
so
year
that
was this?
um it was 2015
Oh, so you got there
September.
before the gold rush.
Well, I think Atlanta was already kind of booming,
Okay, yeah.
which is why she wanted to move there, because the tax incentive in North Carolina
They just they
was,
they countered it. It was insane. They did. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. They took everything,
yeah,
and
yeah,
all those states could have done the same thing, but they just don't even get
it
me
was
started.
it
Yeah,
was brutal. I think they're finally getting it back though, slowly. But man, North Carolina was just as hopping
yeah,
as Georgia, and then Georgia took all of it.
yeah. Because like
Um,
Dawson's Creek was in Wilmington.
mhm,
So many things were Wilmington,
yeah,
or like Charlotte was Homeland. So many.
Banshee. Yep.
Banshee. Yeah, yeah,
Remember
yeah,
Banshee? Yep.
yeah. Crazy. So many good friends on that show.
Mm.
But then so tell me what's Atlanta like when you get there with her in 2015?
Um, it was a little overwhelming. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had to figure out how to get a job. I was like, so I,
At this point, you had only made your living through acting.
oh no, no, no. I
Oh,
had I worked as a waiter, uh, back in Charlotte for quite a bit. And
okay.
then, when I got to Atlanta, I got a job as a waiter, um, at this restaurant called Double Zero, like a Italian inspired, like Southern Southern Italian, uh, food, like small plates and things like
Like
that.
grits and things. Yeah.
Um, polenta,
Oh,
polenta
polenta's
was,
great. Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, pizzas, pasta. Yeah,
Nice.
really good place.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost
Yeah,
dinner time, isn't it?
yeah.
So that paid the bills. Well, that helped pay the bills with my girlfriend Morgan.
She was
Because she
working there
was
too.
no, no, well, she was working at
Oh,
home.
got it.
Um, so I had to find a job. So, but
It's funny
it was
The
crazy.
Italian place in Chicago. It all came together in the end.
Eventually, I was going to end up in
Yeah,
an Italian place
yeah.
and wait tables. Yeah, and unfortunately, it didn't work out with us. We broke up, like the next year, and
Wow.
we actually broke up right before I booked Ozark. So because of Ozark, I wouldn't I don't know where I would be without that show. That definitely helped
Helps
me.
you through the darkest time.
Oh yeah. And my roommate that I have now, we've been living together since 2016, and she needed a roommate. So I was like, yeah, let's, because she's an actor as well.
Yeah,
Um, well, she was. She's kind of taking a break from it right now, but
yeah.
yeah. So we moved in, and if it wasn't for Ozark, I probably wouldn't have been able to pay the bills. Like
Wow. So just
it's definitely been a blessing. Yeah.
how did that come your way? Because like, you know, very rarely do shows catch on, especially like now there's 591 scripted English shows. You know what I mean? So the Ozarks, the Breaking Bads, like, you know, those that catch on, it's so rare because there's just so much. So when you got that audition, how was it described to you? Because obviously that was like season one. You guys hadn't existed yet.
Yeah. It was crazy because I was about to go jogging one morning, and I just checked my phone, and you have an audition for Sam Dermody, new show, Ozark, affable, loves his dog, real estate agent in the Ozarks. Um,
Was this through Alexa Fogel or was this through the local casting?
Local casting.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
So they got me as a local hire, and it was a co-star. Ooh, excuse me. Like 2 episodes at the time,
it. Yeah.
and I taped it, felt good about it, sent it in, and then I found out that they were going to go with somebody older. So I
What?
was like, yeah. So I said, okay, well, you know what? This isn't my first rodeo. I've been here, and I was on my way to Charlotte for an audition for a short film or a callback, and my agent called me and he was like, "Hey, they want to book you for Ozark," and I was like, "What? Really?" It's like I was like, "I thought they were going to go with somebody older," and he goes, "What can I tell you, man?"
No way.
And it was and keep in mind, it was only co-star at the time. I didn't know. I still I had been in the industry uh for almost 10 years by then, And I didn't know the difference between co-star and guest star because I never really got any guest star opportunities.
Yeah.
So I was just excited that it was a recurring role. And it was going to be with Jason Bateman. That was the only person that I knew at the time. It wasn't revealed that Laura Linney was going to be in it yet. And yeah, it was crazy. I got to the table read. We read the first 2 episodes. And it was amazing. Like when I found out that Laura was going to be in the show, I was like, whoa, that's fucking awesome. Like I remember her from the Truman Show. That was the one that I remember.
Oh, the bet. Yeah. God, I forgot that's hers, the wife. She's
Yeah.
so good. She's in, she's
a national treasure, man.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah. That's so rad, man. And it's funny. I just texted Mark Menchaca today. There's so many other great actors there, you know, Julia, and, you know, man, I'm curious, when you read it, did you see like the magic that, you know, that was in the show and in the writing? Was it Chris Mundy who wrote the first season?
Bill Dubuque and Mark Williams were the creators.
Got it. Okay.
So I think it was Bill Dubuque's baby, because he grew up in St. Louis, and he would go, I think during the summer, he would go work as a teenager at the Lake of the Ozarks. So he thought that was a cool setting for a little money laundering.
Do you know who's from the Ozarks?
Who?
Brad Pitt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I wonder if he's had to. I'm sure he's seen the show.
Yeah, I think he has, because he talked about it in the interview. He was like, I grew up in the Ozarks, just like you see the show Ozark.
Oh, cool.
So there by proxy, Brad Pitt's a huge fan of yours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's so weird, like, to think about all these actors that you admire have probably seen you on screen. Like, it's insane. Yeah,
I know. It's crazy, man. Well, so then when you got there and you did the reads, how did it become, you know, a longer stay? Did they just like you and kept you, or did they start writing for you, or you know, how did that all happen?
I think it was like my second day on set, and we were filming like a montage where Wendy is checking out all the houses that because she's trying to buy a house. And I was sitting near Video Village, and Allison Feltz, one of the producers, head writers, was like, "Hey, my name's Allison. I'm writing episode 7 right now, and I'm writing a scene with you and your mom." And I was like, "Okay, all right. So now we're gonna get to see Sam's mom. All right, that's a good sign." But I had this feeling when I saw the audition. I was like, so Wendy's gonna work, or gonna work with him. He's gonna get he's gonna find their house for them. This guy has the potential to stick around.
Yeah, like, totally.
He just, and I feel like they put the breakdown out in LA, but maybe nobody wanted to audition for it.
Well, nobody knew what the property was yet, you know?
Yeah. And it was crazy because, like, I think the second season I was on set, our script supervisor thought I was from LA. And I was like, no, I live in Atlanta. It's like, you live here? Oh my God, we got so lucky. So it's insane how 2 to 3 episodes turned into 4 seasons. Yeah. It's been amazing. It's been
there's
a
real
blessing.
art to your character too. You know what I mean? And between your mom and then everything that you got involved in, it's incredible, man. You know, like, talk to me about being on that set. Is it what you feel like when you were a kid watching wrestling, just doing that? Like, is it awesome? You know, I mean, these are all obvious questions, but
sure. It's that feeling of like, man, I get paid to do this. This is crazy. And it was like after we had filmed season one, I felt pretty good that I was coming back. Like
Yeah.
season one, I had some good stuff. And I just remember talking to Chris, like at the rap party. I was like, so, what do you think? You think Sam's gonna stick around? And he goes, well, he's in the universe now, so he's got to stick. He's there.
Oh, that must have been the best feeling hearing that.
Yeah. And it was crazy because Chris was one of my biggest fans. Like he always had my back. And before we started shooting each season after season one, like we chatted on the phone, talked about like what the plan was for Sam for the season coming up.
Yeah.
So I remember having that conversation after season one. I think I was I think I was somewhere in North Carolina filming a short film about zombies. And that was a lot of fun. And I talked to Chris on the phone, like while I was in my hotel one night, and he was telling me, the plan. He was like, yeah, so Sam is gonna, they need somebody to run the strip club.
Yeah.
So he's gonna help run the lickety splits with Ruth, who I had not met Julia yet on set. And I don't think I really got to interact with her much at the premiere for season one either. So when I found out I was going to get to work with Julia in season two, super excited. And she's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Badass on set, like just owns it. So it was great to find out I was going to get to work with her. And then I found out that I was going to have a love interest. And I was like, what? This is insane.
This is amazing.
This is great.
Yeah.
We went from real estate agent to love interest, motivational speaker. You got to see some of that in season two.
Yeah.
So they were just building on Sam, and I was over the moon, man. It was I knew that this could change the game for me,
And would you say it has?
It's definitely gotten me more opportunities. It's hard to book anything in this business. It's always,
God, it's a miracle to get an audition,
Yeah, it's always a grind. You're always working to get that next gig. I mean, even Jason says, on his podcast sometimes on Smartlist, which is a great podcast, definitely recommend it, is that even if you're like one of these big actors, you never know when that next job is going to come.
Totally.
You just never know.
Did you become close with the cat, like Jason and Laura and Julia, having spent so much time with Sam?
Oh yeah. We all became friends. Laura and I definitely stay in contact. She's so cool. And I remember after we shot season one, she was going to go back to New York and go on Broadway.
I
and
remember.
do Little Foxes. So I went out to New York to go see her, and brought some flowers. Got to go backstage and chat with her. And she was super excited about the show coming out, like, which was really cool to hear from from such a big, awesome,
she's in Love
actor.
Actually.
Right. And she was excited about the show coming out. So I just knew we had something special. And man, if we didn't deliver, man, it's been a blast.
And when the response happened, that must have felt so gratifying as well to see that the world responded to it,
Yeah. And Netflix is they're so good at that. Because nobody really knew about Ozark until it came out.
In fact, Netflix is the king of that, like unless you get the breakdowns, you don't know what's coming,
And and they did like the PR out of nowhere and just boom, like all of a sudden you heard about it. But I knew when I was shooting season 1 that this was good. I had a feeling it was going to be a big deal, and I was in it quite a bit in the first season. I was trying to tell everybody, I was like, I this is going to be interesting when it comes out. If all my stuff makes it in the first season,
Did it?
this could really change the game for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I had any scene. I think I had one scene cut from season 1, and it was a scene where Wendy shows up and tells me it's a good idea to put signs on the lakeside.
Yeah.
So that, I think that was the only scene that got cut.
Wow.
But yeah, man, I just had my friends at work, I don't think they knew what was coming down the pipeline. I was like,
and
I
you,
just
you
had
had
this
to start
feeling.
getting recognized in Atlanta left and right, right?
Dude, when it came out, it was crazy. Oh man. Because I was still waiting tables, and
Yeah.
it was so crazy because I would come up to a table and that look, like you just
Yeah.
it's like I'd never seen that look before, and I knew what the look was now, where it's like, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't quite know where.
Yeah.
And I was taking pictures with people in the restaurant on busy nights too, mind you. Sometimes it was crazy. And I was taking pictures with people, and it was yeah, it was a wild scene, man.
Are you? I don't know if you want to reveal this or not, but are you no longer waiting tables this day as of now?
So I've been lucky for I was able to let my restaurant job go after I started season 2 is what I did. And but I Ubered a little bit
Yeah.
eventually.
I do the same in New York if you didn't need 5 million things, you know?
Yeah. So I did that for about a year. After I had to get a new car to do it because I had a Jeep Liberty.
Oh,
And
they
that
want
wasn't
like a certain date, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So, and also that would have been a gas guzzler. I would have made there would have been no profit. So I did the whole Ubering thing for about a year, really all the way up until the pandemic happened.
Wow.
Because I was Ubering while we were shooting season 3.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I think even a couple times after I was done shooting one day, I'd get in my car, I'd turn on the app, and I'd go pick up people. And
Yeah.
I got recognized when I'd pick people up. Sometimes it'd be the whole, like, you look really familiar. Did we go to college together? And I'd be like, no, but do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Ozark? Oh, babe, it's the real estate agent. That's who it
Yeah.
is. And then we would have conversations while driving. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did Florida Man
Sure.
with Bateman. How was that?
That was fun. I can't talk about too much about it, but it was fun. I got to go back and forth to Wilmington quite a bit.
And
Yeah.
that is also a Netflix project, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be on
awesome.
Netflix.
Nice, man. That's incredible. And
Yeah.
man, I mean, it's hard. I'm actually very sad that it is ending because I don't know. There's something about Ozark, or what it's like being an actor, man. And in the last 5 years have been very weird for me. A lot of highs, a lot of lows and lows. So every time it comes out, I've been in such a different mental life headspace. So it's kind of been this like seasonal tradition of just like, when Ozark comes out, I hope this happens, and I kind of use it
Yeah.
as a mechanism for measuring where I'm at in not just acting, but my life, and I'm sad, because like I live with that world and I look forward to it so much. And I know all, things have to come to an end, but man, I mean, was it hard walking away from Sam?
Yeah, it's crazy because I didn't know that we were gonna be like season 4 was gonna be it.
I don't think
Um,
anybody did, right? It was kind of
that
up in the air, right?
that was a surprise to me. I Because Chris always thought that it would, go 5 seasons.
That's what I
Um,
thought.
and because they always had a beginning and an end, like they knew where they were going to end, uh, and it was just filling in the blanks in the middle. Um, so when they went to Netflix, and it's totally cool if I say this because he said this in interviews.
Yeah.
When Chris went to Netflix and they were asking, like if they were going to get renewed, and what did they say? They said, "We'll give you one more season." Uh, and Chris was like, "Well, we don't need 20 episodes to tell the end of the story, but we need more than 10." So Netflix was like, "All right, we'll give you a supersize season 4." So I kind of look at it as part 1 is season 4 and
Yeah.
part 2 is season 5, if you want to look at it that
Both
way.
being 7 episodes, right?
Yeah. So I have a feeling like if we were going to go 5 seasons,
Yeah.
the way the way this half ended would have been the end of season 4, I think. And
Got
it
it.
would, and people would have been like, damn, we got to wait a year or so for the next part. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So when did you guys start shooting and finish? Because you guys finished in October, right?
yeah, we started in November. No, we started in October of 2020. And
So it was a full year.
yeah, since it was like 14 episodes,
Wow.
you're looking at like 2 weeks an episode, um,
Holidays and.
holidays. Yeah, so it ended up being like, yeah, full year.
Wow, did
It was
that
it
feel
was crazy.
amazing to write it out for really have this rich time with this character that you've lived with and that changed your life and go get to play camp with your buddies for a year?
Yeah, it was great to know that money was going to be coming in during you know
I didn't even
this
think
crazy
about
time.
that. Yeah, God,
I
man.
I was I was so lucky because this pandemic has hurt a lot of people, and especially in the acting industry, like
Yeah,
it's like there was a time where nobody was doing anything, like everything was shut down.
yeah.
And I was super lucky because I was working on Stranger Things right before the pandemic happened. So that helped, with the bills and things. So
And
I,
you're in
I
the
was
trailer.
lucky.
How was that experience to go work on another Netflix show?
Dude, that was fun. And I had no idea that was going to be like they were going to show that in a teaser. It's the only reason I can really talk about it because
Yeah,
it's there. I can't get in trouble for that. I'm in the
yeah,
freaking fucking trailer. Um,
yeah. They violated the NDA, not you.
right? Yeah, not
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It was so crazy because they premiered that.
So you couldn't
Uh,
tell anyone until the trailer came out.
right? Yeah, no, I couldn't. Uh,
That must have been the
I
hardest thing to just.
It was, yeah, it was. It was hard to keep my mouth shut. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, but it was crazy because you remember I think it was like September 25th of last year. Netflix did this thing that they called To Doom, and it was like where they premiered um like teasers for new shows, when premiere dates were going to be, and all that stuff. Do you remember that
Yeah.
by any chance?
I remember reading it. Yeah.
So I was super, I was happy. I was like, oh, we're going to find out when Ozark's coming out. Like that was the reason I was super excited about September 25th. And they did show a teaser of the first episode, like where Wendy and Jason and Marty are like pulling out the blood from their hair. Like
Yeah,
that was they
I
showed
remember
that as a
that. Yeah,
teaser.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, they're gonna say what the date when it's coming out. And they didn't say the date. So I was like, oh, really? We still don't know the date? Um, and then the big surprise was the Stranger Things thing. I had no idea that they were gonna like when the Duffer brothers were talking about uh I think they were on the couch talking with a couple of the actors and they were like, hey, let's show the fans the Creel house, shall we? And I was like, wait a minute. I'm that's what I shot. I shot stuff in the Creel house. So when they showed the teaser and you see this old timey car
yeah.
rolling up American Horror Story style, I was like, oh my God, are they really going to show our stuff in this teaser? And, you know, me and my family get out of the car and bam, there I am. And I'm just like, well, cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah, that's
And that was
awesome,
just
man.
that was a huge, huge
Netflix is
thing. It
a
had,
big fan of
yeah.
Kevin L. Johnson.
Ah, let's hope that continues.
That's awesome, man. And do you know when the part
Thanks.
2 of Ozark comes out or no?
Not yet. There's no date. But Jason did say on I think the Tonight Show, he was like, it'll be coming out very soon. So I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with me saying that because he has
Okay.
said that already. So
Cool. I'll
yeah,
take it,
very
man.
soon. Yeah.
Well, dude, final few questions, man. I'm so stoked for you and all the amazing things that are happening. You kind of just touched on it. The pandemic has been really hard on people and especially actors. Any words of wisdom or advice you might have for those listening right now?
Um, well, aspiring actors, you know, just like keep plugging away, you know,
Yeah.
and just man, I know that it's been a hard time for a lot of people that are already in the industry. Um, and yeah, you just gotta keep plugging away, audition, 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 and you just never know when that quote big break is gonna
Yeah.
happen. And always and mentally, you know, make sure that you treat yourself right, you know.
Yeah.
So after you had a good audition or a good callback, I always like to like treat myself to a, you know, like a dinner, like a nice something to, you know,
Celebrate the
say,
coup of seeing,
of course.
new people
Yeah.
seeing you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
that's a huge thing I would say is make sure to treat yourself kind for
yeah.
sure.
That's beautiful, man. Well, Kevin L. Johnson, dude, I love you. When Florida Man comes on or comes out, come back and we'll do this
Love you
again.
too,
And
bud. Thank
yeah,
you.
man, we got to finally hang in person next time you're in New
Yeah.
York or next time I'm in Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I love New York. I haven't
Come
been in
on
a
up.
while, but
Yeah.
when I
Wait,
go,
wait,
it's
wait
so
a
much
month.
fun.
March will be better, because like
Yeah.
now it's the winter. I mean, it's cheap, but it's not fun.
It's always cold when I go there. I know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, well, we just had 2 feet of snow. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. I
Mother
I gotta
Nature's
go.
crazy.
I gotta go dress up because I'm gonna go get food now. And yeah, it's just so it's like the Winter Olympics getting outside.
Oh man. Well, be
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. But dude, so much love. All right.
Back at you, man. Love you, bud.